Good evening. Welcome to Troop 542 Eagle Scout, Court of Audience. Renee Brusek, Brendan Furniture, and Colin Osborne. At this time, I'd like to ask you to please silence your phones or videotaping so we don't want any odd sounds during the videotaping process. Thank you. My name is Ed Borkowski. I had the lovely opportunity to present these three fine young men here this evening and congratulate them on becoming Eagle Scouts. And we'll start off with Bob Strauss, pastor of Jerrytown United Methodist Church, to give us the invocation. Bob.
Let's begin with prayer. Loving God, we just thank you so much for this day, this time that we can come and celebrate, rejoice in the achievements of these young men. We pray for Brendan and Colin and Nathan. Just pray your blessing upon them, upon each of us. Help us to grow stronger in our faith, in our commitment to love and serve you and one another. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Bob. This time I'd like to introduce our senior patrol leader, Michael Robinson. Please step forward.
Please rise, pledge allegiance. Face the flag. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
Hey, Mike. Come on back up. Let's do the scout oath and the scout line. Thanks.
Scouts, please rise. On my honor,
I'll do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Scouts are trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
please be seated.
Thanks, Mike. At this time, I'd like to introduce Chuck Bolger, our unit commissioner of Troop 542, to Cradle Liberty Council. Talk about the Eagle. Yeah.
Good evening. Is this on? See, somebody was going to say what I do. Thank you. You didn't let me down. So, I've been this unit's commissioner, I did the math, it's about 12 years. And it's always been a real good troop, and I've gotten to know a lot of good people in this troop, but I thought about a 12-year span. Some of the same leaders are still here, a lot of new ones. None of the same kids are still here. You guys were in Cub Scouts maybe when I started doing this. So the more things change, the more things stay the same. In addition, I'm a member of a troop that I helped co-found about 25 years ago, and we've had in that time 80 Eagle Scouts. So I've been to a lot of Eagle Courts of Honor, and I've given a lot of talks like this. And quite frankly, I'm about run out of things to say. So I'm going to probably be brief, but you never know what's going to come out. I will say this first. Nathan, Brendan, and Colin, before I forget, congratulations to my soon-to-be fellow Eagle Scouts. You're going to hear a lot of good things tonight, and hopefully some of them are coming from here. Now, I can't really talk about the Eagle requirements. Mr. Hotchkiss is going to do that, and the Trail of Eagle video is going to be up here, and you have speakers for you. So I got a real thin slice that I'm here to talk about, which is what the Eagle Award means. And what I hope to do is give you some impressions about what it ought to mean to you guys. So I did give this a little bit of thought, and I'm going to give you 4 words. 4 one-syllable words. They're actually 2 phrases. We're going to talk a little bit about it. I want you to, if you take anything away besides your medals tonight, I hope you take away some thoughts about what all this means. The words are these: step up and stand up. Let me say that again. Step up and stand up. Now you guys probably think, all the hard work's done. Getting our Eagles, your hard work is just beginning. All the things you've done to this point prepare you for the rest of your life as an Eagle Scout. So, what does step up mean? You spend a lot of time in Scouts, you have to, in both the length of time and the amount of time, because you don't get the Eagle if you don't spend a lot of time. And one of the things you spend a lot of time doing is learning how to be leaders. And before you were leaders, you learned how to be followers. You were members of a patrol, you learned the patrol method, you learned teamwork. Step up means, for the rest of your life, you're going to be called upon to assume leadership roles. It's now part of your character. If it wasn't when you started, it is now, believe me. You're going to be called upon at work, in school, in future Scouts. Someday, God willing, you're going to have kids and they're going to want to be in Scouts, and they're going to say, you're an Eagle Scout, you should be a leader, and you're going to step up. It's as simple as that. You don't wait to be asked to step up. You see the need, you see a job that needs to be done that you know you can do or think you can do, and you step up. That's part of being an Eagle Scout. Stand-up's a little bit different. It's a lot of the same stuff, but it's a little bit different. Stand-up means, as an Eagle Scout, you're not just an Eagle when you wear the badge or the uniform. You're an Eagle Scout all the time. And that means you're everything that Boy Scouting, the BSA, embodies, and then some, because you've reached the pinnacle of the BSA movement. So you have to stand for something. You have to stand for the values that you have learned, not just from Scouts, but from your faith, from your families. You have to stand for something. You have to stand for character. You have to stand for citizenship. You have to stand for being right and doing right. Go home tonight, please, and think about those words. And put them in here somewhere, because you'll use them in the future. Step up, stand up. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. This time I'd like to introduce John Schultz, Scoutmaster Troop 542, for the introduction of the Eagle Scouts.
Thank you, Ed. All right. So I have the privilege of being able to introduce all three of these young men tonight. And you'll notice inside your bulletin, which you can read later, is a number of pieces of information about each of them in the center insert. And so I'm going to touch on some of the highlights on here and then share a couple of additional things that you may not necessarily know about them yet. So I'm going to ask our Eagle Scout escort, Peter Decker, if you could please escort Nate Rusick to the stage. Thank you, Peter. Nathan, and actually all three of the boys, joined Troop 542 in spring of 2012 from Pack 405. Nate held leadership positions such as Den Chief, Patrol Leader, Assistant Senior Patrol Leader, Senior Patrol Leader, and most recently, Junior Assistant Scoutmaster. As Senior Patrol Leader, Nate challenged the PLC to try new things and to push their abilities as leaders. At Seabase, he participated in the scuba diving program. He went to the Summit Medical Reserve in West Virginia. And this summer, he'll be heading to Philmont with our crew that's heading out in June in about a month. Nate is a Brotherhood member in the Order of the Arrow. He's earned a total of 33 merit badges, one of his favorites being Scuba Diving Merit Badge. His Eagle Scout Service Project, or Leadership Project, was to lead a project that rejuvenated part of a memorial at the cemetery at Upper Dublin Lutheran Church. This year, Nate will be graduating at Upper Dublin High School, and in the fall, he's heading to Penn State University studying political science. Please join me in thanking Nate for his service to the troop, and also congratulations on his Eagle rank. Up next, and just so that you know, the order in which we're working tonight is the order in which each of these boys completed a district board of review for Eagle and therefore earned their Eagle rank rather than alphabetical. So up next, we have Brendan Furnister. Peter Decker, would you please escort Brendan to the front? Again, Brendan joined the troop in spring of 2012 from TAC 405. Leadership positions include den chief, patrol leader, and lead instructor as well. Brendan has the distinction of earning the Triple Crown, which means that he attended and successfully completed a Philmont trek, a sea base expedition, and also attended the Summit Bechtel Reserve in West Virginia. He's earned a total of 23 merit badges, a couple of which include scuba diving, rifle shooting, and archery. His Eagle Scout leadership project was to lead a group of scouts, scouters, and friends in restoring the playground at Jarretttown Methodist Church. This included leveling the ground, adding new wood chips and barriers, and power washing the equipment there. This year, in just a few weeks, Brendan will be graduating from Upper Dublin High School. He's heading out to Penn State, studying cybersecurity and analytics at Penn State University. He continues to help out with the lead instructors and teaching first-year scout skills at our regular Monday meetings. So please join me in thanking Brendan for his service to the troop and also to guys. And finally, our most recent Eagle Scout, Colin Osborne. Peter, would you please escort Colin? Colin joined Troop 542 also in the spring of 2012 from PAC 405. He's held leadership positions including den chief, assistant patrol leader, instructor, and quartermaster as well. He's been very committed to his patrol and to the troop over his years in scouting, even coming to camp with a broken wrist and also leading the lightning patrol in many enthusiastic endeavors. He's earned a total of 28 merit badges, one of his favorites of which being climbing. He's attended the Summit Bechtel Reserve in West Virginia, and also Philmont Scout Ranch, where he summited the Tooth of Time with his crew out there. Colin's leadership project for his Eagle Scout was to lead a team planting 200 trees at Pine Run Park in Upper Dublin to help fight invasive species. He will also be graduating Upper Dublin High School in just a few weeks here. And this fall, he'll be studying at Montco, which is one of my alma maters as well, so happy to hear that. He's currently undecided at major at this time and trying to figure out what that might be to go ahead and finish studying out at school. I'd like to thank Colin for his contagious enthusiasm and friendliness to other scouts in the troop. And please join me in congratulating him on his Eagle rank.
Good job. It's taken many years for these young men to get to where they're at. And so to understand, I'm going to introduce our Assistant Scoutmaster, Arlen Hotchkiss, to our truck.
Thank you, Ed. Wow, it's quite an accomplishment and very honored to be here to talk about the Trail of the Eagle because I'm an Eagle coach for 2 of these 3 young men tonight. And let's just say it was not an easy trail. So tonight we recognize these 3 outstanding young men who have earned the rank of Eagle Scout, the highest achievement in the Boy Scouts of America. In order to reach the rank of Eagle, they first had to successfully complete the requirements for 6 other ranks. To help you understand what this means, and we hear a lot about the Trail of the Eagle, we asked members of Troop 542 and 401 to talk about that. So all you gentlemen in the first row, please come up here with me. Thank you. First, representing the rank of Scout is Brendan Zahn.
To become a Boy Scout, I had to show Scout spirit by understanding and agreeing to live by the Scout oath, law, motto, and outdoor code. Show my intention to participate in Scouting by joining the troop. Learn some Scout skills including repeating the Pledge of Allegiance, demonstrating the Scout sign,
an excellent job. Next, we have Jackson's Chu, who will tell you about the Tenderfoot Rank.
To become a Tenderfoot Scout, I had to show Scout spirit by memorizing and beginning to live by the Scout oath, law, motto, and outdoor code. Learn about my patrol and become active in it. Participate in scouting by learning about my patrol, attending meetings, and attending at least one camping trip where I slept in a tent. I pitched myself and helped cook one of my patrol's meals. Learn some basic Scout skills related to outdoor safety, camping, cooking, knot tying, hiking, display of the flag, physical fitness, basic first aid, use the EDGE method to teach a skill.
Thank you, Jackson. Excellent job again. Our next scout is Matt Red, who will tell you about the second class rank.
To become a second-class scout, I had to show Scout spirit by continuing to live by the Scout oath, law, motto, and outdoor code. Participate in scouting by attending meetings in a total of 5 activities since joining. Learn some additional Scout skills related to care for the outdoors, camping, cooking, map and compass, use of knife, axe, and saw, firebuilding, hiking, participating in a flag ceremony, wild animal identification, basic swimming and swimming safety, intermediate first aid. Participate in a school or community program related to substance abuse, earn some money and save a portion, show community service by participating in a service project for at least 1 hour.
Thanks, Matt. Great job. Next, we have David Lottman, who will tell you about the first class rank.
To become a first class, I had to show Scout spirit by continuing to live by the Scout oath, law, motto, and outdoor code, and inviting someone to join our troop. Participating in scouting by attending meetings in a total of 10 activities since joining and demonstrating Leave No Trace principles. Learning even more Scout skills related to finding directions without a compass, orienteering, nutrition, food storage, food handling, and cooking. Serving as my patrol's cook for an entire weekend. Learning the duties of a citizen for a public office. Wild plant identification. Making a project using ropes and lashes. Swimming and water safety. Advanced first aid. Learning about internet safety and cyberbullying.
Thank you, David. Fantastic job. Up to this point, the Scouts are learning basic skills such as first aid, cooking, and knot tying. With the star rank, the focus changes more to advanced skills with leadership becoming ever more important. Our star rank representative is Dylan Dressel, cousin of Brendan Fernsler, and also a member of Troop 401.
To become a Star Scout, I had to show Scout spirit by continuing to live by the Scout oath, law, motto, and outdoor code. Participate in scouting by being active in the troop in my patrol for 4 months while a first-class scout. Learn advanced skills by earning a total of 6 merit badges, including 4 from the list required for Eagle. A typical 6 merit badges for a Star Scout would be swimming, citizenship in the community, life-saving, family life, basketry, and leather work. Show community service by participating in a service project for at least 6 hours while a first-class scout, and demonstrate leadership by serving the troop for 4 months in an approved leadership position, such as assistant patrol leader, librarian, historian, or den chief.
Thank you, Dylan. Very nice job. Our next rank is that of life. This is the last step on the trail of Eagle, and the requirements are ever more difficult. Sam Harris will tell you about what it takes to reach the rank of life.
To become a Life Scout, I had to show Scout spirit by continuing to live by the Scout oath, law, motto, and outdoor code. Participate in scouting by being active in my troop and my patrol for 6 months while a Star Scout. Learn advanced skills by earning an additional 5 merit badges, including 3 more from the list required for Eagle, so I had 11 in total. Typical 5 merit badges for someone progressing into life might be camping, first aid, citizenship in the nation, computers, and golf. Use the EDGE method to teach a younger scout several of his requirements. Show community service participating in another service project for at least 6 hours while Star Scout. Demonstrate leadership by serving the troop for 6 months in an improved leadership position, such as assistant, senior patrol leader, scribe, quartermaster, or patrol leader.
Thank you, Sam. Another excellent job. Our Eagle Scout representative is Peter Decker, who received his Eagle rank in our troop just last year.
To become an Eagle Scout, I had to show Scout spirit by continuing to live by the Scout oath, law, motto, and outdoor code. Participate in scouting by being active in my troop and my patrol for 6 months while a Life Scout. Learn advanced skills by earning an additional 10 merit badges, including the remaining 6 from the list required for Eagles, so that I had a total of 21 in all. A typical 10 merit badges for someone completing as Eagle to earn might be citizenship in the world, communications, personal fitness, personal management, engineering, model design and building, atomic energy, cooking, environmental science, and small boat sailing. I had to provide service to the community by planning, developing, and giving leadership to others in a service project helpful to a religious institution, a school, or to our community. Other scouts from the troop provide a source of helpers for the project, which typically takes a total of about 200 hours of effort. I had to demonstrate leadership by serving the troop for 6 months in an improved leadership position, such as assistant senior patrol leader, scribe, quartermaster, or patrol leader.
Thank you, Peter. Very well done. Ladies and gentlemen, the Trail to Eagle, as represented by Scouts from Troop 542 and 401, stands before you. Behind them are 3 young men who are being honored tonight as having gone above and beyond to reach the goal of Eagle Scout. You are now welcome to come forward and take pictures of these Scouts. So Scouts, please move forward and together so that the photo op is a little easier to take. Thank you, Scouts. You may return to the first row. Thank you.
Yes, you may sit down now. You guys have faded now? Yeah. This time we're going to have one of our more entertaining parts of the ceremony. That will be our Trail to the Eagle video presentation. So if the lights dim.
How are you going to all stars? The Scout Troop 542 in March 2012 at our annual dinner. The first trip was to Baltimore Harbor on one of our favorite bus trips. All 3 boys got a chance to test out their tent camping skills at Susquehanna State Park, and Brendan's learned his love of backpacking on the Appalachian Trail. Following the June campfire of that year, where each earned their scout rank, a wet and wild time was had by all in the Lehigh River. Resca Falls got their first taste of the boys in 2012 at their first time at camp. Here you can see them lined up and ready to go out for the outpost hike, followed by some photos on the climbing wall. That's one heck of a fish, Colin. Local parents benefited from our Scout for Food construction drive, followed by a movie making competition at Camp Henson. In January of next year, our annual Gold Rush competition took all 3 boys out in a snowy winter day. At Camp Horseshoe, the boys were able to complete their 5-mile hike for the second class requirements. At the troop dinner in March of that year, all 3 boys were able to earn their second class rank. Here's Nate performing one of our skits for Brendan. The Colonial Williamsburg trip was our band trip for that year, followed by a gourmet cooking competition at French Creek, where Brendan helped his patrol. Here's Colin helping out with one of our Eagle ceremonies early on, representing the second class rank. In May, the troop joined with our Canadian Scouts for Olympia Scope, a time of fun and fellowship. Summer of that year brought another year at Resca Falls, where all three boys enjoyed the pool, the lake, and all the activities that summer camp has to offer. Brendan and Colin kicked off September with a backpacking trip on the Appalachian Trail, and then all three boys joined us for a cabin camping trip at Hawk Mountain Scouting Station. Brendan and Colin joined us for our February cabin camping trip to Camp Horseshoe in 2014, and then Nate and Brendan enjoyed the battlefields at Gettysburg during our band trip. April brought on an orienteering competition at Camp Parvin. All three boys got their first taste of high adventure at the Summit Factory Reserve in July of that same year. They all went on to visit other high adventure bases as well, as we'll see later on in the video. While Colin tested his skills with zip lines and biking, Nate and Brendan went out for a whitewater excursion in the New River Gorge. Summer camp at Resca Falls is another favorite of the year, where all three boys were able to join us as a troop. Here you see Colin representing the Lightning Patrol, followed by fun on the Bush Hill at Coolin. Brendan once again showed off his backpacking skills with an Appalachian Trail hike up to the pinnacle. A rainy camporee was held in October, followed by a movie making competition at Camp Mac. Our December activity was a trip to the Camden waterfront and the Battleship New Jersey. January of 2015 kicked off with a snowy gold rush at Camp Park. Here you'll see the boys practicing their idle skills. The bus trip that year was to Washington, D.C., where Brendan and Colin got a taste of the nation's capital. Our canoe trip that year took Brendan, Colin, and Nate out on the Delaware River, followed closely behind by Brendan and Nate, heading to Sea Base in the Florida Keys. July 22, once again headed to Resca Falls in August of 2015. Here you'll see the boys enjoying time on the Bush Hill, followed by helping their patrol at the Camp-wide games. Delaware Water Gap on the Appalachian Trail. Brandon and Nate competed in the October Trail Run outside of Fort Washington State Park. January of 2016 kicks off a busy year for the troop and for all three boys. Here you'll see photos of our gold rush, followed by hiking at Camp Ware, a van trip to New England, and finally a catapult competition at Hawk Mountain Scout Reservation. Brendan became a lead instructor, and Colin earned his life rank. In June of that year, we were once again down the Lehigh River, where all the scouts enjoyed water fights and fun with friends. In 2016, Colin and Brendan took on the challenge of a Philmont trek. In northern New Mexico, Philmont Scout Ranch covers over 200,000 acres of property. In one photo, I think Colin was a new friend. At summer camp that year, the troop took on the challenge of building a footbridge near the campsite. They then received the honor at the Council of Camporee to be flag bearers for the event. Camp Mac held a movie-making competition with Nate portraying for Robert Baden Powell for his patrol movie. 2017 started off in January with a cold but snowless gold rush. An unseasonably warm Camp Horseshoe trip in February took Colin hiking and Brendan excitedly helping his patrol with his mock track races. In March at the annual banquet, Brian Wong passed on the SPL responsibilities to Nate Merzick. Our bus trip that year took us to the Shenandoah Valley. You'll see photos of the boys enjoying the caves and the cliffs of that area. In May, Scope Olympia allowed scouts to host Canadians for the weekend and make some new friends. Now more senior members of the troop, Nate, Colin, and Brendan, all enjoyed a canoe trip on the Delaware, with one of our largest contingents with the troop yet. As senior patrol leader, Nate hosted our June Awards campfire and then joined with Brendan and a number of other Troop 542 members heading off to the Summit Bethel Reserve for the National Jamboree. While Nate continued as senior patrol leader at Prescott Falls, Colin had leadership of the Lightning Patrol. As the boys started their junior year at Upper Delta High School, Nate joined the troop for a September backpacking trip, helped the Eagles with their camp instruction, and Colin and the Lightnings brought in a mountain of food to help those in need. At Broad Creek, Colin directed an engaging Lightning movie, while Nate and the Eagles paid homage to the YMCA. On a cold day in January of 2018, Nate and Brendan joined Troop 542 at the Camden waterfront to head to Battleship, New Jersey and the Camden Aquarium. In February, Troop 542 helped lead Scout Sunday at Sickly Church. The following month, Nate helped with the bridging ceremony for his alma mater, PAP 405. The three boys joined Troop 542 for its first ever bus trip to New York City. Some events included visiting the World Trade Center Memorial, the Empire State Building, the world-renowned Natural History Museum, Ellis Island, and the Statue of Liberty. In April and May, Brendan joined the troop for a shooting sports themed weekend at Prescott Falls Scout Reservation, and then to Susquehannock State Park, where he taught knots and lashings for some of our first-year scouts to complete their camp gadget requirements. As our video comes to a close, we see Brendan enjoying a whitewater rafting trip on the Lehigh River, Nate on an underwater excursion in the Keys, and finally Troop 542 leading Baden-Powell District for an Indiana Jones themed camporade in October of 2018. Throughout these amazing and fun experiences, Brendan, Colin, and Nate have grown into confident young leaders, and we know that they will take with them the skills that they learned on the Eagle Scout.
What we'd like to do at our ceremonies is to have someone speak who knows the Eagle Scouts fairly well and tells us a little bit about themselves outside of scouting, because we see them during our scouting program.
So I'm Ray Hopkins. I am Nathan Russick's youth director. I've known Nate, my earliest memories of Nate are as an 8th grader entering her confirmation program. I do have to say that even though Sarah will see this, that Nate is probably my favorite Russick, taking into consideration both parents and the family I know. But I have spent a lot of time with Nate. Also, we share the bond of being both Eagle Scouts now. We've done a lot with youth around the church. His leadership positions are great. And I do really just share that Boy Scout bond, which helps. A few things I want to share specifically with Nate and the other 2 Eagle Scouts that are out there is you guys are now in an elite group. Within scouting, there's many programs. There's Sea-Base, there's High Adventure, there's Order, the OA. There's a number of different things you can be a part of. But even people within that don't achieve people. So one of the biggest things that I want to remind you all of is as you enter this point of being an Eagle Scout, becoming an adult outside of the high school world even, you have the obligation to reach back. So all those boys who are in your troop, any Boy Scout that you work with in the future, take a look for those Boy Scouts who, when you're working with them, when you're in a troop, whether you're working in a high adventure camp, whether you're working in a scout camp, whether you're just doing a MERV batch, make sure you're reaching out to those boys who may look like they're on the outside. they have potential, that maybe they aren't as outgoing, maybe they seem a little quirky. This is your opportunity to reach back, reach those scouts. Get to know younger scouts. You were once a younger scout. Had nobody reached out to you, you may not be here today. The other big thing you have, and while it scares a lot of scout leaders to hear this, any scout leader who has been where I am, who's worked with teenagers, know that you need to take the time to challenge authority. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but what I mean is we need to get to a point where scouting is a real representation of boys all over the country. And not just boys all over the country. Scouting internationally is inclusive of both girls and boys. We've seen it within scouting here. Leadership is not something exclusive to a small group, but should be a trait that most people have the opportunity to learn about, to experience if they have a chance. That being said, Boy Scouts has evolved for 100+ years. Baden-Powell didn't just create this for a small group. He wanted it to grow. So you have that opportunity to challenge national, challenge your council. We're in a council that's more progressive than some others. They're willing to take opportunities. So keep in mind that if you see something you want to change, something you want to evolve, something you need to challenge it. Challenge your troop, challenge yourself. But more importantly, don't allow a program to sit stagnant because we're afraid to challenge something. And then yourself. Nate has amazing skills, as do many. But what I will remind you of, Nate, is that while you have a lot of leadership skills, one of the most important things you can do as a leader is learn to follow. It is very, very hard to learn to follow. Not just learn to follow, but be willing to follow. As you begin to venture off into college, you have some amazing plans. You've told me about your life plan, your goals, and they're amazing. Be open to change. Be open to learning about new people. Be open to diversity, but more importantly, know when to lead and when to follow. And what that means is, you have learned through scouting that sometimes you'll be in front, but being in front doesn't always mean leading. Being a leader sometimes means that you guide everybody where to go, but you find those people who need to pick me up. You motivate those people who need there, or you delegate somebody to take the front. The other big thing about being a leader is understanding that you want to lead with humility. Leading with humility is a huge, huge thing. It's something I've struggled with, anybody who's been in charge. We sometimes get to that point where we think we're irreplaceable, you believe that you're this great leader, but being able to humble yourself will lead you in a lot of great ways. You have a lot of potential, you have a whole future ahead of you, both you and the other Eagle Scouts. But what I just wish for you is as you move into the world and the years ahead of you, that you'll remember this journey and realize it's only a starting point. You have so much to offer, and I can't wait to see what that means.
We'd like to have the opportunity to hear from someone who knows them just as well in another form.
Brendan was in the confirmation class, the first confirmation class that I was a part of when I came to Jarretttown, and it's led by a fellow by the name of Tom Tyree. And so I assisted Tom, and we worked together on confirmation. And a couple of things that I remember. One is Tom had great creative ways of teaching lessons to the students. And one of the things he did is he had a chair that he rigged up with 2x4s attached firmly to the side. And there was an illustration about how we can work together. And so the different confirmands, 7th, 8th graders, they would sit on the chair, and then the rest of the group would work together, holding them up by the 2x4s on the side and being able to carry them back and forth. And it was a great time of learning. And then Tom told all of these children, young people, now Pastor Bob's going to get in the chair. And you should have seen their faces. But it was a great illustration of working together. And I think that Bible verse, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, is a good verse for that. When I talked to Tom, knowing that I was going to speak on Brendan's behalf, I asked him, what would you want me to say to Brendan? And he said, well, you know how whenever I see anyone from any previous confirmation classes, I always say, you know, you are my favorite student. You're my favorite student. Doesn't matter who it is. Anytime he sees any of the confirmation class students, you're my favorite student. So Brendan, Tom wanted me to tell you, you were his favorite student. But Brendan is still very much involved in the church. He helps with video projection. He was there this morning doing that. He also helps with program that we have called OHAP, One House at a Time. Their ministry is to deliver beds to kids. And so Brendan will often give up a Saturday morning, coming to the church at 7 o'clock in the morning to help deliver beds for kids throughout our community, the Philadelphia region. And it's a tremendous mission project that Brendan is a part of, and we're always glad to have the younger men there to help with the lifting and things like that. Brendan also sings in our choir. He did just recently at Easter time. And one of the things that I remember, and Brendan and I really never even talked about this, but we had an evening rehearsal, of course, and we were rehearsing with the orchestra, was getting ready for the Easter celebration. And my grandson, he's only 6 years old, he likes to hang out with me, and he likes to hang out with the choir. He knows some of the choir members personally, and so he just is kind of crawling under the chairs and being around, and I always worry that he's being distracting to other people. But I watched Brendan the night of that one particular rehearsal, and Keegan was just, like I said, hanging out. But Brendan reached out to him, and they had the greatest time. He was chasing Keegan, Keegan was chasing him. They were just back and forth, and Keegan was thrilled to have an older boy playing with him. So that means a lot to me, and it says a lot about who you are as a person of character. So I really want to acknowledge that and appreciate that. I also want to say a word just about your project, since it was related to our church. And it was related again to children. Our playground was in need of repair for a long time, and the project was quite extensive. They came in, they removed as much of the playground activities from the area, all of them except one swing set that's cemented in there. They removed all of those from the area, leveled off the playground area, and then built a wooden frame around the outside of that area, put down a weed barrier, then brought mulch in, and then they also power washed all the equipment, returned that back to the playground. And it's really been a blessing for us, for our children. We have an after-school care program at the church now, and so the children are out there every day this time of year as the weather's gotten nicer, and it's just been a blessing to the church and to the community. And so I really appreciate that Brendan chose to do his Eagle Scout project at our church and to make a difference there. So I've talked about faith and friends and family, and just one other thing that comes to mind is future. You know, what does the future hold? And I think for all of these Eagle Scouts, the future is a bright one indeed because of who they are and what they exemplify as young men of character and integrity. Brendan's been interested in computers for a long time. He's even built his own computer. I remember his dad complaining to me about spending so much time on computers and video games and things like that. I'm sure he complained to Brendan about that as well. But it's led to Brendan now going to Penn State, majoring in cybersecurity. And who would have known that a hobby would grow into potential occupation? And I have no doubt that Brendan will do great things as he goes forward because of his family, because of his friends, because of his faith. And I know we have two young men who are going to Penn State in the fall. And so I just want to end, for all of you who are Penn State people, I have one last thing to say. We are Penn State!
Thanks, Bud. Our next speaker for Colin is actually a video. His uncle and godfather is a commander stationed in Afghanistan. And we're going to play that video right now for you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, G542. My name is Commander Jason Wilhite. I'm sending you this note from Kabul, Afghanistan. I'm speaking on behalf of Colin Osborne, my nephew, on his accomplishment of becoming an Eagle Scout. I wanted to talk about two unique instances that, to me, describe Colin's character and who he is and how he embodies the Scout oath and the Scout law. So let's get at it. First one, I remember back in the day, young kids, Colin included, all running outside having a good time. All the nieces and nephews and cousins of Colin's were all around the house. And you could see very early that Colin was the leader because everybody gravitated to him. Me, as a leader in the Navy, I took advantage of that. Hey, Colin, come here. As the kids ran away, I said, Colin, do me a favor. You are in charge. You keep an eye on everyone. Make sure no one gets lost, no one gets hurt, and everybody's back safe. Got a big thumbs up, big smile, shoulders back, and assume that responsibility, and everybody did. Everybody came back safe. And as you can see through the years, everybody naturally gravitated to Colin and say, Colin, leave him, take care of him. And a lot of people started, and a lot of the kids his age would look up to Colin as that leader. It was natural. And I thank the Scouts for helping Colin see that for himself by embodying those ethos, that the ethos of the Scout oath of being trustworthy, being loyal. Colin was ever so loyal to all of his cousins, to all of the nieces and nephews that showed up, to strangers, kids that showed up for the first time. He made sure that they were all taken care of. The second quality of Colin is his embodiment of challenging himself. As leaders, oftentimes we don't have all the answers. We have to put ourselves in situations where we need to be challenged. Well, Colin was on a Tiger cruise back in the day where the United States Navy offers family members an opportunity to travel back and forth on a Navy ship. So Colin was on what's called the USS New York, a ship built with some of the parts and steel from the World Trade Center from 9/11. Well, he was on a Tiger cruise 10 years later after September 11th, and the Navy offered what's called a Tiger Surface Warfare Qualification. Not everybody took advantage of that. Mind you, he's 11 years old. We're not asking him to be an astrophysicist, but at the same time, it's there for the taking. And not every kid took advantage of that. Except Colin, who I think from memory was the first in line to take advantage of it. This, mind you, is my father gave me this information because it was my father and Colin on the cruise. But I remember hearing about it. And Colin, you can tell when he was here, when he was in the room when we were talking about the conversation and Colin getting that qualification, he was telling me everything he learned, what's required of Navy petty officers and officers to lead, and what he had to do on the different stations and telling people what to do. And he seemed like a natural. It was great. It was fantastic. He earned the distinction to be called a Tiger Surface Warrior. To this very day, not everybody gets a chance to have that distinction and honor. More so, not everybody has a chance of being an Eagle Scout. Little fact, in the military, if you serve, you're less than 1% of the U.S. population to do that. I would say less than 1% of the boys that go through the Scouts have the honor and distinction of becoming an Eagle Scout. I may be wrong, I may be more. I hope there is. Because if they all turn out like Colin, you guys are doing a fantastic service to our country by providing future leaders. Because all, to include Colin, are the embodiment of the Scout oath and the Scout law and the qualities and the character that you expect of each Scout. Thumbs up to everyone. Bravo. And Colin, couldn't be more proud of your accomplishment. You should be very proud of it. Now do me a favor, pass it forward. Teach those, whoever you interact with throughout life, what those qualities are, who you are. It only helps us. I love you, buddy. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. To everyone, be safe going home. I'll talk to you guys soon, as I leave in 3 days. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.
Scout Nathan Mercer, please escort your parents to the front. Eagle Scout Brendan Farnsworth, please escort your parents to the front. And Eagle Scout Colin Osborne, please escort your parents to the front. This time we're going to have our Union Commissioner Chuck Folger and our Scoutmaster John Schultz present the award.
Well, this is certainly a very proud moment for me, for all three of these boys. So first up, we have Nathan Rusick. Pass this on to your mom. Go ahead and get that pinned on for you. And as these boys all know, many of us in the room know, most Eagle Scouts get a lot of help from a lot of folks, but they especially get help from home. And so we have a couple of things to offer for Nate to pass on to his parents. So we have a pin here for and a rose as well. And we also have a pin for Nate's dad as well. And finally, on behalf of the Troop Committee, I'm privileged to offer this trophy to you as well, which reads Nathan A. Rusick, Troop 542, achieved rank of Eagle Scout, November 14th, 2018. And up next, we have Brendan Fernsler. And for Brendan's mom, we have a pin here. And a rose as well. And I know it is, I know. And a pin for your dad. All right. Finally, on behalf of the Troop Committee, and the dates on these, by the way, are the dates of the boys' District Board of Review, which is the official date that gets marked in the record for Eagle Scout. This reads, Brendan J. Fernsler, Troop 542, achieved rank of Eagle Scout, November 21, 2018. Finally, our most recent Eagle Scout here in this group, we have Colin Osborne. And finally, from the Troop Committee, we have a trophy that reads Colin J. Osborne, Troop 542, achieved rank of Eagle Scout, January 30th, 2019.
Escort your parents back to their seats and then return to the stage. Brendan, please escort your parents back and return to the front. 542 has lots of traditions. Of course, Scouting has many, many traditions. Have many traditions, and Troop 542 has many traditions. Can you put those right? Just put back. Two of our traditions we're going to have the boys do right now. Nate, you can go over to our Eagle Scout. Oh, I forgot. Sorry. One tradition first. You're going to explain it, or do you want me to explain it? We have the Scouting knows that there are a lot of people in an Eagle Scout's career that have contributed a lot to getting them to this point. And as part of that recognition, we asked the boys to select a person who's been instrumental in getting them through their scouting career has been a big influence. And for that, the Scouts we have a pin, which is the Eagle Scout Mentor pin, that the boys will be able to give to the person who they have selected. So at this point, we'd like to ask Nate to take that pin and tell us who he has selected.
As my mentor, I selected the person that is the reason why I'm scouting to begin with. Unfortunately, why he did not obtain the rank of Eagle, I did it for him. I'd like to give this to my father.
And Eagle Scout Brendan Fernzer, who are you going to give your mentor pin to?
The person I'd like to give the mentor pin to isn't actually here tonight. He couldn't make it. I wanted to give it to my brother Justin, but he's still out at Pitt working on his car. So he was just like a great leader and like set the way before me as he became an Eagle Scout. So I guess I'll give this to my grandma.
Selected mentor.
I'd like to award this to my father. If it wasn't for his support and loving force, I probably wouldn't be on this stage today. So I'd like to thank him for everything he's done for me.
Okay, now this time we're going to troop traditions, which is to remove their name on the Eagle Scout roster board. Nate, please remove and show your name, and then move your name from the life rank to the Eagle rank. I was checking some of my notes here before. This is actually our 50th year of scouting, this troop giving out Eagle Awards. And these are number 160, Brendan, yes, he knows what to do. This will be 164, 165, and 166. This is our 26th consecutive year where we've had Eagle. Did he break it again? I told them to be gentle, please. Yeah, we'll get somebody to work on that later. And as you see, we only have one spot left for an Eagle Scout, but we do have two more boards behind this one, so we expect to continue this tradition and get another 100 and some Eagle Scouts from the troop. I'm sure I won't be around to see all. I've seen a lot. All right, this time I'm going to reintroduce Scoutmaster John Schultz.
Thank you, Ed. That's all right, that just gives more motivation for some of those guys in that long life list right there to finish up their work that they're working on. Yeah, there we go. All right, caught their eye. Got it. Okay. Okay, all right. And it's interesting, as I'm looking down through From 1995 on, when I joined the troop, actually recognizing some of these guys as my senior patrol leaders and guides and stuff like that. The various number of scouts that I've had the privilege to work with over the years. But on to these three guys specifically here. First of all, congratulations. This is a huge accomplishment for you. I'm well aware of the hard work that you have done to get here, and I'm very proud of each of the three of you guys. As many of you know, in a short while I'll be stepping down as Scoutmaster later on this year. And in the process of making this decision, I thought through the years of relationships that I personally have built over the years in this troop. Some of these relationships have included various endeavors, including mentoring, both youth and adults, which I've been on both sides of. Some hardships in working toward triumphs, sometimes working towards failures. Learning from experiences, some fun times, some frustrating times, some mistakes that required forgiveness, some challenges that we faced head on, and some challenges that we walked away from. But there's one key theme that passes through all the stories and all the experiences, and that's relationships. Some relationships that we have in life, they're pretty short in business life, like a cashier at a store. Others, they're focused, they're task-driven, like a work colleague, maybe a fellow student at a school project. And some of them are complicated and multifaceted and potentially lifelong, like family and close friends. The ideals of scouting and the oath and law, they can help guide us through all three types of these relationships. We can be kind, we can be friendly to the cashier at the store, because your smile can simply, and a simple thank you, can mean enough to brighten their day on that day. Respecting the beliefs or customs of a coworker or peer in school, that can open doors to conversations, that can build trust, that can change lives. The loyalty that you show means setting priorities. And like each of you, I'm challenged by this regularly on a daily basis. These priorities, they might mean saying no to a friend sometimes. And so, I challenge you to be a leader. Be willing to say no when you need to stick up for what you know is right, even when it means going a different direction from a friend. You see, as an Eagle Scout, you're promising to continue to live the oath and the law long after that uniform comes off. And you're an Eagle Scout whether somebody's watching you or not. And so I challenge you to search for opportunities outside of the spotlight when others aren't looking to help others in this world. As I close my remarks and my challenges here, I want to focus for just a moment on a challenge that might be hardest for most of us in this room. And that is a challenge to be vulnerable. What does that mean? It means allowing somebody in your life to know you for who you are. Whether it's a parent, a brother, a sister, maybe a best friend, maybe a mentor. Be accepting of the help from those, from someone who cares for and about you. I heard a story recently about a man in a hole. He struggled to find a way out, but had no success. A doctor walked past overhead and the man cried out, "Hey, can you help me out? I'm stuck down in here." So the doctor wrote up a prescription and threw it down in the hole. Didn't help much. Later on, a wealthy stranger walked by, and again, the guy in the hole yelled out, "Hey, can you help me out, get me out of here?" And so the wealthy man pulled a 20 out of his pocket and threw it in the hole. That didn't really do much either. A close friend, on the other hand, walked past. The guy in the hole said, "Oh, finally, someone that can come by and help me. Can you get me out of here?" So the friend jumped down into the hole next to the man. The guy said, "You idiot, now we're both stuck down in here. What's wrong with you?" So the friend replied, "Yeah, but I've been down here before. I know the way out." And so my final challenge is this. Build up and fiercely protect your relationships in your life. Be a friend that's willing to jump down in the hole with another. Be willing to support someone through even the hardest of times. Even if that means disagreeing, do it with care and respect and loyalty toward that relationship. And so Colin, Brendan, and me, it has been an honor to see you grow up over the years. You've pushed me to be a better leader, a mentor, and a friend. And I hope that maybe you too have been challenged to grow in some of these ways as well. You are each very strong young men that I am proud to welcome to the Brotherhood of Eagle Scouts. Thank you.
So now we'll hear remarks from the Eagle Scouts. They've been working on this for months, leading up to the point. And first we'll hear from Nate.
You all look excited for 15 more minutes of talking. All right, we'll be brief. Thank you and good evening. Before I respond to your challenge, John, I'd like to just take a moment and share with you how crazy this is all to me. It feels like truly just yesterday when we were in elementary school in PAC 405, Colin, Brennan, and I would get bored of whatever the adults or older scouts were talking about and just run off out of the cafeteria throughout our Jarretttown Elementary School, playing, causing trouble, being mischievous with the other cubs, only to be found and eventually returned by the adults and the older scouts to the actual meeting. Now, over a decade later, we are those older scouts who do the finding and the returning of our more energetic scouts. And I may have also still retained some of my old ways of causing trouble and being mischievous as well. And there is usually nothing wrong with that, John. Yet, on a more serious note, it is difficult to describe just how much of an impact scouting has had on my life. As the scouts in the room know, scouting is more than a meeting, some trips in a uniform. It's a way of life. Being a true scout is living up to the scout oath of them all, not just when you're at the meeting, on the trip, or wearing a uniform. It's in your everyday life. And tonight, John has challenged us, myself included, to uphold that ideal for the remainder of our lives. I accept your challenge, John, and from here on out, will commit myself to living the rest of my life honoring and abiding by the Scout Oath of the Month. I also plan to remain involved in scouting programs as an adult leader through college and into adulthood, which I'm sure concerns some of the other adults in this room who thought they'd be getting rid of me tonight. I want to assure you that many of the youth, including perhaps my own one day, can also reach this awesome point in their trails to Eagle. Which brings my attention to you, all of you scouts currently on your trail to Eagle. It has been a true privilege getting to know all of you, getting to be friends with you, lead you, and learn from you. Whether you're a scout or a life scout, do not give up. Even if you're 17 and planning on turning in all your Eagle Scout application paperwork the day before your 18th birthday, which Mr. Borkowski loves, do not give up. Earn your merit badges, serve in your leadership positions, do the work you need to do. Do not give up. The rank of Eagle and the mission that comes with it is too important. Our mission and our purpose as scouts is too important to anyone. While you may be scouts and a troop, part of Scouts BSA, I want you all to remember that you are part of something much bigger. You are not just a part of a scouting program, but a scouting movement, signified by the World Scouting Crest, worn by millions of scouts across the world. Together, we strive to create a better world. In fact, it was Scouting's very founder, Lord Baden-Powell, who once said, "Leave this world a little better than you found it." So, Scouts, go out there and do it. Make this earth a better world by utilizing the Scout Oath of them all to guide you. Finish your trail to Eagle, because it will not just be a finish line for you as a youth in scouting, but a starting line for an even greater journey to come. I thank everyone for being here tonight, and I wish all of you the best of luck on your journey, even though you will not be.
Political science, right? Political science is what you're going to study. Speech writing also, probably. That's pretty good. All right, now, next is, who's next? Brendan. Let's hear from you.
The scouting program has always been a staple part of my life. I can't remember a time when I wasn't involved in scouting. From the beginning, the lessons taught to me and the friends I've made have helped me overcome many challenges throughout my life. Helen and Nathan have been with me the whole way too, since we started back in PAC 405 nearly 10 years ago. And I'm sure they learned just as many things as I have. The pictures on the slideshow you saw earlier, they make it seem like the past few years have just been us kids messing around and enjoying the outdoors. There is so much more to becoming an Eagle Scout than that. I mean, sure, I definitely had fun scuba diving in the Florida Keys or watching the sunrise over the Tooth of Time in New Mexico, but it's the life skills that will really benefit me in the future. For example, while backpacking at Philmont, Skills such as patience and teamwork can be gained from working closely with the same members of the team for almost 2 weeks. It's also a great test of determination, as you have to push yourself to the limits, hiking across the landscape. But man, is it worth it. One of my favorite quotes goes something along the lines of, "In the end, it does not matter how many breaths you take, but how many moments take your breath away." I may climb up the side of the mountain huffing and puffing, but I get to see something that makes it all worth it. When you finally reach the top and the view takes the breath away, you know you accomplished something amazing. Then you look back and you see all the ground that you covered on the journey to the top, and you can learn from it. It's kind of an analogy for life, working through hard and laborious things that seem to draw everything out of you, pushing through until you crest that hill to reap the rewards. From things as subtle as the feeling of satisfaction you get after setting up the tent or preparing a meal, or whether it's something bigger, such as restoring my church's playground and managing every aspect of planning and execution. I just have to keep going and learn things on the way to completion. Overall, while climbing through the ranks of scouting, I think some of the most important skills I gained were leadership and communication skills. The scouting program was based heavily in having the leadership of the troop be made up of the scouts. The senior leadership would organize all the meetings and plan for all the trips, and the instructors would lead the younger scouts through some of the early requirements. I was both a patrol leader and an instructor, and learning how to manage groups of people with different skills and learning abilities is something I can take with me into any job field. The skills and memories gained in this program shaped me into the man I am today, and will continue to shape me into the future. So yes, John, I accept your challenge, so that I can make it to the top of those mountains and bask in the view.
And last, word from Colin.
Well, it's kind of crazy to think that after all of these years of scouting and spending the past 10 years with these two behind me, that I'm standing up here in front of all of you who were sitting in the same seat that I was. And as I'm standing up here, it kind of reminds me of all the memories that I made over scouting. I can recall how 10 years ago, it was almost the blink of an eye, a scout recruiter came into our elementary school cafeteria and was talking to our whole second grade class. He was probably the best kind of hype man propaganda you guys could send in, because it worked for me. That's how I got into scouts. He was telling us a story about something with water balloons, homemade catapults, and dragons, and that's what you would get out of scouts. So obviously that's what I'm seeking, and now that I'm standing up here, I haven't seen any water balloons, catapults, and dragons at all. But over the past 10 years, Nathan, Brendan, and I have all been involved in scouting. We've been together at least once a week and wearing the same uniform for the past 10 years, which, again, is honestly crazy in my eyes. We've put in a lot of time and hard work and effort into this. The countless Monday night meetings, the long, dreary nights of fire duty in smoke-perfumed cabins, and spending 7 weeks of my summer sleeping in spider-infested tents. I've spent so much time with these two, I'm happy to say that it was worth it, and that there's no one else I would rather share my story with than them. While most people think of scouting as just tying knots, earning badges, and pitching tents, there's so much more to it. It's about the friends you make and the memories that you make with them. If it wasn't for now it may sound cheesy, but what I just said, but if it wasn't for the friends that I've made through this program and the memories I've made, I don't think I would have lasted this long. If it was not for Scouts, I would not be the man that I am standing up here today. I never thought that through a seemingly endless process of filling out paperwork would teach me commitment and perseverance. But when the goal was within my reach, it can sometimes be hard to hit the brakes when you see it in sight. The skills I have learned and the relationships I have obtained from this program will continue to benefit me throughout the future. John, I accept your challenge so that I am now able to show the same commitment to this program the same way it was committed to me in helping me reach this point. Believe it or not, as much as I want to say, I did not do this all alone, and that there are a few people I would like to thank. I'll make this quick. Mr. Mr. John Schultz, Mr. Jay Eibner, and Mr. Borkowski for all that they have done for me and my time throughout the troop here. Mom and Dad for always pushing me and offering me their full support, even when I may not like it at times. My Uncle Jason for taking time out of his busy schedule in Afghanistan and for writing and saying a few words about me in the video. Finally, I would like to thank every one of you here in attendance for being here in support of Brendan, Nathan, and I. It's so appreciated that you came out here to see us during your day for a moment that's very important to us. So thank you all, and that's it.
Almost done. I'd like to introduce Eagle Scout Peter Decker, who is going to lead us in the Eagle Pledge.
Would all Eagle Scouts please rise? I reaffirm my allegiance to the three promises of the Scout Oath. I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout. On my honor, I will do my best to apply Scouting's values so that I can be an example of a responsible, participating citizen and leader, strengthen my relationships with other people, and make my status and influence as an Eagle Scout count strongly for better scouting and better citizenship in my troop and community. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Please be seated. Before we have the benedictions, two more things. There are a number of commendations up here on this table. There's also a book for each of the Eagle Scouts from all of the various organizations and dignitaries from the United States and outside the United States who have written to each of these Eagle Scouts. After we have our Eagle Court of Honor, our Eagle Scout honor line, you're welcome to come up and take a look at this. And the families have invited you to attend the reception in Fellowship Hall, which is out the back doors to my left. Down, just follow the hallway down to Fellowship Hall. This time I'd like to ask Bob Strauss to come forward and give us our benediction.
Well, as I said, it's been an honor to be a part of this Court of Honor, and I wish the best to Brendan and Colin and Nathan as they pursue their dreams, and pray that all of you will continue to rise through the ranks as well. As it's been said, it's not the end of the journey, it's really the beginning, as you live life in that way. Let's pray. Loving God, we just thank you for this day, this time that we can come and celebrate the achievements of these three young men. We pray your blessing upon them as they go forth to pursue their dreams, and we just ask your blessing upon each of us. Help us to grow stronger in our faith as well. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bob. This time I'd like the Eagle Scouts to please come forward over to my left. And I will first ask the Eagle Scouts here tonight to please come forward first and congratulate these fine young men. After the Eagle Scouts have presented themselves, congratulated the rest of the folks here, congratulate them and join the families in the hall. That will conclude our ceremony this evening. Thank you.